Welcome to TechGolly Weekend News.
This week's top news headlines.
Taiwan hits China's Huawei and SMIC with trade blacklist amid tensions. Nuclear stocks soar. Solar sinks on proposed tax credit shakeup. Tencent targets European cloud market, betting on gaming and super app tech. Musk's XAI lands $5 billion debt deal despite cool investor reception. AliExpress strikes deal with EU to block illegal goods. Fine still possible. Nippon Steel gives U.S. veto power to seal $14.1 billion U.S. steel deal. EU resigned to 10% tariffs in trade deal with Trump's U.S. BBC threatens to sue AI star Perplexity over content theft. Tech can enforce Australia's social media ban for kids, trial fines. Humanoid robots to build AI servers at new Foxconn factory in Texas.
Taiwan has officially added Chinese tech giants Huawei and Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation, SMIC, to its trade blacklist. This major step aligns the island more closely with U.S. policy. The move is set against a backdrop of rising military and political tensions with Beijing. The two Chinese chip firms, along with many of their international subsidiaries, were placed on Taiwan's Strategic High-Tech Commodities Entity List. This means any Taiwanese company, including the world's leading chipmaker TSMC, will now need to get a special government license before shipping advanced technology to them. The government cited national security concerns and its involvement in arms-related activities as the reason for the decision. This isn't just a symbolic gesture. While Taiwanese firms like TSMC already follow U.S. export rules, this new domestic regulation tightens existing loopholes. It raises the stakes for any company caught breaking the rules. The decision comes after TSMC landed in hot water last year. A research firm discovered a sophisticated TSMC-made chip inside a new Huawei AI product, despite U.S. restrictions designed to prevent this. That discovery led to a U.S. investigation and reports that TSMC could face a massive $1 billion fine. Experts believe Huawei had been using loopholes to acquire millions of these advanced chip components from TSMC for its AI ambitions. This trade crackdown is happening at a very tense time. China, which considers Taiwan its territory, has recently conducted large-scale military drills off the island's coast. The U.S. has reaffirmed its support for Taiwan, and this new trade restriction indicates that Taiwan is taking a firmer stance in the global tech war.
Nuclear energy stocks had a great day on Tuesday, with companies like Oklo Nanonuclear and NuScale Power all jumping between 3% and 5%. The rally came after a Senate panel proposed major changes to President Trump's budget that would be a huge win for the industry. The plan would extend valuable tax credits for nuclear, hydro, and geothermal power to 2036. But it was a terrible day for solar energy companies. Their stocks dropped sharply because the same Senate proposal plans to phase out their tax credits completely by 2028. This move signals a major shift in government support, clearly favoring one type of clean energy over another. The good news for nuclear power isn't happening in a vacuum. It builds on recent momentum from President Trump, who has issued executive orders aimed at supporting the industry. Together, these actions are creating a much friendlier and more profitable environment for nuclear companies. This proposed budget change is a huge deal for the entire energy sector. It demonstrates how rapidly government policy can transform the industry, creating clear winners and losers. Investors reacted immediately, selling off solar stocks and buying into nuclear, betting on where the government support and money will be in the years ahead.
Tencent, the Chinese tech giant behind the hugely popular WeChat app and a global gaming empire, is making a major push into Europe with its cloud computing business. The company plans to leverage its years of experience in China to enter a new market, competing head-to-head with giants like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. In a recent interview, Dawson Tong, the CEO of Tencent's cloud group, said the company won't try to compete on all fronts. Instead, it will focus on specific areas where it has unique strengths. These include providing the powerful cloud technology needed for smooth video streaming, lag-free online gaming, and building complex, super apps, single applications that offer multiple services, such as messaging and payments, all in one place. Tencent has already started working with European companies, like helping French telecom firm Orange with its Maxit app in Africa. The company is also betting that European businesses will not want to put all their eggs in one basket. Tong said Tencent is building its services to work well in a multi-cloud environment, making it easy for customers to use Tencent's technology alongside services from other providers. When it comes to artificial intelligence, Tencent is also taking a flexible approach. Instead of just pushing its own Chinese-built AI model, the company plans to offer tools that can work with various AI models, including those developed in Europe. This enables customers to select the most suitable technology for their specific requirements.
Elon Musk's artificial intelligence company, xAI, is on track to secure a $5 billion debt package led by Morgan Stanley. But according to people familiar with the deal, investors weren't exactly lining up to get a piece of it. Despite the lukewarm interest, the deal is set to be finalized on Wednesday. To attract investors, xAI had to offer a very high interest rate of roughly 12% on its loans and bonds. For comparison, the average for similar high yield or junk bonds is currently around 7.6%. The higher rate reflects the major risk involved. xAI is not yet profitable and instead is unrated, providing investors with limited insight into its financial health. Many investors recall the difficulties with Musk's $44 billion acquisition of Twitter, now X, in 2022. In that deal, banks loaned him $13 billion, but were then forced to hold on to that debt for 2 years because they couldn't find buyers for it. Citing that history, several investors told Reuters they passed on this new xAI deal. While the deal secured enough funding to close, investor interest was modest. It attracted orders for about 1.5 times the amount of debt available. In contrast, similar deals typically see demand that is 2.5 to 3 times higher. This time, Morgan Stanley protected itself by handling the sale on a best efforts basis, meaning it didn't guarantee the sale or puts capital at risk. This $5 billion debt deal is separate from a much larger effort by xAI to raise about $20 billion in equity from investors.
The European Commission has struck a deal with the online marketplace AliExpress over concerns that the platform was allowing the sale of illegal products and pornography. The EU had launched an investigation in March, and the company was facing the threat of a hefty fine. On Wednesday, the Commission announced that it had accepted a series of promises from AliExpress and made them legally binding. AliExpress has now committed to getting better at monitoring and detecting illegal items, like fake medicines, unapproved food supplements, and adult material. The company also promised to be more transparent about its advertising and make it easier to trace who is selling goods on its platform. But AliExpress isn't completely in the clear yet. The Commission stated that the company still faces a potential fine because it believes AliExpress didn't take the problem seriously enough and failed to discipline sellers who broke the rules properly. AliExpress will have a chance to respond to these findings. In a statement, AliExpress said it has been working closely with the Commission from the beginning.
Japan's Nippon Steel is defending its massive $14.1 billion buyout of the iconic U.S. Steel, saying it's satisfied with the deal even though it had to grant the U.S. government significant control over the company to complete it. At a news conference, Nippon Steel CEO Eiji Hashimoto said he was fully satisfied with the arrangement. He argued that buying the American steelmaker was far more efficient and reasonable than trying to build new steel facilities in the United States from scratch. President Donald Trump only approved the deal after Nippon Steel agreed to a strict national security agreement. This agreement gives Washington a significant influence over how U.S. Steel is operated. For example, a majority of the company's board of directors must be U.S. nationals, and the CEO must also be a U.S. national. Additionally, the U.S. government will appoint one board member and must approve 2 others. The biggest concession is a golden share that Nippon Steel issued to the U.S. government at no cost. This special share gives Washington powerful veto power over key business decisions. The government can now block any move to relocate U.S. Steel's headquarters from Pittsburgh, change the company's famous name, or transfer production and jobs outside of the United States. As another part of the deal, Nippon Steel also promised to invest an additional $11 billion into U.S. Steel's facilities by 2028, the year Trump's second term ends.
European officials are growing increasingly resigned to a tough reality. Any new trade deal with the United States will likely include a 10% tariff on most European goods. According to sources familiar with the sensitive negotiations, the Trump administration has made it clear that a 10% rate is the baseline, and they are not willing to go any lower. President Donald Trump is determined to reduce the U.S. trade deficit with the European Union. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has publicly ruled out setting a rate below 10% for these reciprocal tariffs. This is a big problem for the EU, which has a massive trade surplus with the U.S. and has more to lose from a trade war. While EU negotiators are still officially pushing for a lower rate, sources say it has become much harder to argue now that the U.S. is starting to collect significant revenue from its new global tariffs. The U.S. Treasury reported that customs duties more than doubled in April compared to last year. The clock is ticking. The EU is attempting to secure a deal before July 9th, when U.S. tariffs on many European goods are set to increase from 10% to as high as 50%. Trump has already imposed steep tariffs on steel, aluminum, and cars in Europe, causing significant headaches for European automakers, including Mercedes and Volvo. The situation is so tense that some European industries, such as the wine and spirits sector, would rather accept a 10% tariff now than face a prolonged, drawn-out trade war with even greater uncertainty.
The BBC is threatening to take legal action against the AI star Perplexity, accusing the company of illegally using its news articles to train its AI model. The British broadcaster is now the latest in a growing line of news organizations to go after the high-flying startup for scraping its content. According to the Financial Times, the BBC sent a letter to Perplexity's CEO with a clear list of demands. It wants a company to immediately stop scraping its content, delete any copies it already has, and offer financial compensation for using the BBC's work without permission. If they don't comply, the broadcaster says it will seek a court order to shut them down. Perplexity hit back hard. In a statement, the company described the BBC's claims as manipulative and opportunistic. They stated that the broadcaster has a fundamental misunderstanding of technology, the internet, and intellectual property law. This isn't the first time Perplexity has been in hot water. Forbes, Wired, and the New York Times have all made similar accusations. The rise of AI chatbots has alarmed publishers, who argue that these tools are essentially summarizing their hard work for users without permission or compensation. Despite the controversy, Perplexity is a major player in the AI space. Backed by powerful investors such as Amazon's Jeff Bezos and NVIDIA, the company offers an AI search tool similar to ChatGPT. It is currently in talks to raise money at a valuation of $14 billion.
The head of a major technology trial in Australia delivered some significant news on Friday. The country's controversial plan to ban children under 16 from social media can be effective. Starting this December, Australia is set to enforce a world-first ban, requiring companies like Meta, TikTok, and Snapchat to take concrete steps to block young users or face substantial fines of up to $32 million. Many people were skeptical, worried that kids could simply use tools like VPNs to circumvent the rules. But Tony Allen, who oversaw the huge trial involving over 1,000 students, said the technology is up to the task. Age assurance can be done in Australia privately, efficiently, and effectively, he said. However, he was quick to point out that it's not a perfect system. He warned that no single age-checking product works 100% of the time and raised concerns that some of the apps they tested collect excessive personal data from users. The trial itself just wrapped up. A comprehensive report will be submitted to the Australian government next month, which will assist officials in establishing the final rules for the tech industry before the December deadline. The government's e-safety commissioner welcomed the news, saying it was a useful indication that the ban could be both effective and private. With governments around the world watching closely, Australia's bold experiment could become a blueprint for how to handle kids and social media.
Foxconn and NVIDIA are collaborating to deploy humanoid robots in a new factory in Houston. For the first time, both companies will collaborate on a project that utilizes human-like robots to help build NVIDIA's powerful AI servers. This move marks a significant milestone in the effort to integrate humanoid robots into mainstream manufacturing. The plan is expected to be finalized in the next few months, with the robots on the factory floor by the first quarter of next year. That's when the new Houston factory is scheduled to start producing NVIDIA's latest GB300 AI servers. While the exact tasks aren't public, Foxconn has been training its robots to perform assembly line work, such as picking up objects and plugging in cables. This move is a significant development for NVIDIA, which is not only utilizing the robots, but also providing the core technology platform that many humanoid robot makers rely on. For Foxconn, the world's largest electronics manufacturer, this is a major step in automating its production lines. The company is even developing its humanoid robots. This is part of a larger trend, with companies such as Mercedes, BMW, and Tesla also exploring the use of human-like robots in their factories. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang predicted earlier this year that the widespread use of humanoids in manufacturing was less than 5 years away. This new factory seems to be the first big step in making that prediction a reality.